Welcome back to another episode of Engine Craft Garage. Today we're going to be rewiring my trailer here. It's a older Harbor Freight trailer. I didn't buy it brand new. I bought it off of somebody, and then I bought it off of them for really cheap. It's, let me show you here. So this is the trailer. I mean, it's just your generic trailer. Got wood on top. Some of these lights are, as you can see, a little busted up. And these have bulbs in them, which we're going to swap these out. This trailer is technically submersible, but I think as soon as I dip those lights in, they would just go out. A lot of this wiring is exposed. I was going to buy conduit, but I didn't, so mine's going to be probably the same. But we're going to rewire the whole thing, just so I can get it as good as possible. I use this trailer for picking up equipment and hauling stuff around. It's a 4x8 trailer. The reason I like this trailer so much is because that folds underneath, this part folds up, and then I can store it over in that corner, and it does not take up a lot of space. So let me get you over here and show you what I got. So this is the kit that I got off of Amazon. It came with the wiring harness, some LED lights. Now these are completely sealed, unlike the bulbs that are, or the lights that are currently on it. So it came with one left, one right. This one comes with the license plate light, so it can shine down on the license plate. Here's the holder for it. And then a couple of side markers as well. And instructions for the wiring. Some more kit information. But here's the whole parts list, essentially. And then what we're going to be having to look at is the wiring diagram here. And I'm going to pull all of the lights off first, off the trailer right now. I'm going to start pulling the current wiring harness, taking all the lights off, and then we'll get putting the new one on. And another reason I don't think this is going to work very good either, or these lights don't work very well, is they're all just duct tape or electrical taped. I'm going to actually be using connections that those little butt joint connections where you put heat on them, they become waterproof and they have a little bit of solder in them. I like using those. They seem to be pretty durable. All right, let's get a croissant wrench here. Should be pretty easy to take these off. Yep. Oh, with the old. Then I'm just going to put my new ones on there. So we have everything good to go. This top. Oh, don't want to lose that. Same bolt pattern, which is perfect. If not, I'd just widen it out a bit. Those on there, snug them down. Now this is the ground. I'm wondering if I can just take this ground, simply hook it back to the light here, if that will be good enough. Because everything is bolted to the trailer. And that should work well enough for a ground. It's a good tighten. There you go. That one's done. Snip this wire here. The only thing different with these lights to these lights is these are only 2-wire. They don't have the actual ground, so I wonder. I need to grab the bracket. All right, so this goes through. I'm going to put the ground on first. Hopefully this is enough to ground it and I don't have to bolt a bunch of stuff to this. That's not going to work. There we go. See if I can do this. Washer. Sure. And then before I actually start the wiring process, I'm going to lay everything out on the trailer just to make sure everything fits good. There we go. Get this bent out just a wee bit. There we go. 1, 2. All right. Where to next? Oh, we can start probably cutting and putting on the side markers. All right, so I'm gonna reach underneath, grab the wires to these, which this one only has 1 wire. What it feels like. The other ones have 2. Snip that. Yeah. Only got 1 wire. All right. We'll pop the next ones in. These are LED as well. Thread those through, and I can just use the same screws if I can find where the other one went to. Oh. See how they just used electrical tape for all these. You're probably yelling at me where to go. Well, did you fall over here? Actually, some new screws came in the bag, so I'm just gonna end up using these. Because why not? Brand new. There we go. Well, where's the hole at? All right, so these ones are different as far as the hole pattern. Oh, that was still in there. That was acting as a ground there. See that? They had 1 wire going in, and then this was acting as a ground. These look identical though. Am I gonna have to drill new holes? I might have to. Let's see if these line up. They do not. So we're gonna have to make our own holes. Which that's fine. I just thought it would be easy. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, let's hope this works. It's a little bit big, but I'll make it work. Just use some self-tappers. So we're gonna use this back hole for this one. Make sure that's kind of centered there, and then we're going to use a self-tap for this one. My cheapy drill did not like that, but it's on there. It's good enough. Now for the other side. But that was painful to watch. Same thing on this side. Oh, didn't mean to do that. There's one, there's two, there's the wire. Snip, just like that. And we're gonna put one new screw in the new side marker. Just like that. And then we're gonna put this screw in. And then we're gonna have to use a self-tapper for the other one. All right, so the only thing I did here is I laid out the wiring harness here. It's gonna be pretty self-explanatory. So the lights over here have a yellow and brown. So this leg of the wiring harness goes over here. Then the other one is green and brown. So what's gonna happen is the only thing we have to do is make some splits in the wiring harness for the two side markers. And we're gonna use some solder connections there. You heat up and they make them weatherproof. And I'll show you that. But first we gotta take out this old wiring harness. So let me get started in doing that. I've already snipped it up here. Let me show you what we have to do to get. So up here, I snipped some of the wires, but the wiring harness, if you can see in there, is held down by these couple bolts in here. So we got to undo that and then pull the rest of the wiring harness out from below. All right, since this thing folds into thirds, I can go back here and start pulling all this stuff out. So I gotta get my snips here. And what we're gonna do is just start pulling a lot of this old wiring harness out of here. Those old clips. See, this is terrible. Wow. We got to feed it through these holes in the frame so when I fold this, it doesn't get pinched. These old clips. Pull that through. Come on. What a mess. So I can't feel. Prop that back up. I gotta look under here and see what is holding this wire up. Give me a second. Of course it's a zip tie. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, just like help me out here. All right, so that's out on that side. Snip this. One on this side. Basically, you want to get this so I can pass the wires through these holes. Then I can start wiring these backlights up. I mean, this is just... Who did this? I mean, I'm pretty sure they come from Harbor Freight kind of pre-wired. I've had this trailer for a few years, and lights have always been kind of shoddy. I got them to work a few times, and then they kept going out on me. So, what are you doing, cat? All right, let me bring you down here a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Oh, you can. This is my cat Boone. He is my shed tiger. Oh, sorry, buddy. He used to keep, we just got him to keep the mice away. Yeah. Got you to keep the mice away. All right, so let's take all this old wiring out. So all this stuff. Get that out of here. Boom, what are you doing? That's not supposed to be up here. Goes way up front. All right, so let's get this all sorted out. What are you doing? So this has got to go through the holes in the frame. I know, I see you there. Right here. It's got to go through here. And up. And up. Now, I should be putting this in conduit, but I'm not going to, unfortunately. I was going to order some and then I just didn't end up ordering it. All right, pull those tight. And then we're going to split these. Just like so. Then once we get up to the side markers, I'm going to basically make sure I have enough for the front and then cut all of the excess wiring off. So let's go get our little connections and my little I got a little torch here somewhere. It is. The best way to use these actually is with a heat gun. And I ain't got one out here. So just kind of got to work with what you got. So we're probably going to use these ones here. This is what they look like. These adhesives melt and make it watertight, and then the solder in the middle melts to join the wires together. I don't even know if I have enough room to do this in there. All right. So let me bring in. I did not cut these. This is how they came. That one's a little long. That one's a little short. So I'm going to just give these a good twist. I'm going to cut this one the same length as that one, wherever my cutters are. Got to cut quite a bit off, actually. There we go. We're going to slide this guy over. We want these two to meet in the middle. One like that. Well, come back here. All right, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Kind of. Both the wires are touching right there in the middle where the solder is. That's what you want to get a solid connection. So we're gonna hold that there. I'm gonna grab my torch and start melting. If I can do this quickly without these falling apart. You'll see the solder joint melt. There it goes. There's the adhesive, another adhesive. Now when that cools, it's going to be a very solid connection. There you go. First one is done. Twist these wires together. Second one. Again, we're going to cut a little bit shorter. That is just way too long. Right about there. I'm going to slide this one on first. And slide this one on. There we go. Wires are touching perfectly in the middle. Just like that. Let me see if I can get you in here to take a look at that. Focus on it. See how both the wires are touching in the middle? That solder will melt, join them together, and then the two pieces on the ends here, here, and here will melt, as you can see, on the joint on top. Now you can solder these. Oh, burnt the wire a little bit right there. The old school way. I mean, there's a million different ways you can do this. Even using that heat shrink tubing to go over it. Oh, got a little adhesive that popped out. Yeah, that's okay. Those are good, solid connections. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to put one clip in here. Should have a whole bunch of them. I don't. We just get a few in this little package. Here's the connections that they came with. And I don't really like these. So you put the wire in here and one in the other side, and then you essentially have this pressed down, and that clamps them in here. And then throw this over top, and it all clips together. The only problem with this is not weatherproof whatsoever. And there's obviously issues with it. If you're using this for, you know, inside or, you know, something that doesn't ever see moisture, sure. But you're going to get corrosion inside of these. Another thing they sent us is wing nuts. Great for indoor use. But again, they tie wires together very good. Again, you get any corrosion in there or any water in there, and it's going to cause corrosion. And then you're back to doing this again. Here's those clips I was talking about. Just snag them on here, like so. I might have to hammer these in. Put the wire in. You only got 4 of them? 5? 6. Okay, so 3 on each side. That's not very many at all. I can't find my hammer, but, you know, anything is a hammer if you're brave enough. There you go. Those slide in there like that, they don't move. This just clips the wiring in. Then I'll do the same down this way. I wonder, can I get a zip tie in here? No. Yep. Okay. That's just what we're gonna have to do. But I mean, I'm not too worried about this wire flopping around. I'm not gonna have a ton of excess. All right, so let's move over to the other side and we'll do the same thing. Put the wires through the hole here, even though I have little to no space in here. Lovely. Hi, Boone. Kind of late at night here right now, and there's a lot of bugs flying in here because, you know, I got the lights on. It's just, you know, Bug City in here. Fish them through the holes again. There we go. All right, take these wires off. Give them a good twist. Snap them. Snap these both at the same time. Looks about right. Get some more of our little connections. Now over here, for some reason, I don't know why, wires are very, very short. So I'm gonna have to make use of as much space as I can here. Slide this guy on. Right, Boone. Get my torch ready. Slide this over. Both joined in the middle. Heat her up. That one is done. All right, time for wire number 2. What are you doing, Boone? I might have to make use of the older clips that I popped off here. It should be fine. Scale this back. Throw this other wire in here. Ow! It's hot. Now you guys can't see much when I'm right in the way here. Let's see if this is better. Just come on. There we go. Bolt in the middle there. Should make a decent connection there. Get this guy up. I always want to see that solder melt down really good. That way, you made a really good connection. And then you give them a good tug, and they're watertight. They ain't going nowhere. Well, looks like the solder needs to be melted on this side. There you go. This one fully melt. That's like that. There we go. Yeah, you just got to twist them a little bit to make sure they made a fully melted down. We'll check them, give them a little tug, good to go. Those connections are solid. All right. And what we want to do here, I suppose, to make sure we have enough bend radius, is fold this up. And that's as simple as just bending it down. There we go. This is what I'm talking about here. Where when this bends back this way, this is going to push this wire. Hopefully it doesn't get pinched. But you got to just make sure you have enough wire for when this bends like this. Same on this side. All right, so yesterday we had left off on the tail lights, and then we put the side markers in. Only thing is, I folded this up essentially because I didn't want to be crawling underneath the bottom to try to do this wiring. We're gonna cut one side. We're gonna cut this wiring to the side markers, and then we're gonna feed these through the holes here, and then we'll rewire it back together. So this should be long enough here. This should be long enough here. So I'll cut both of these right here. I can find my snips here. Where'd they go? Oh, here they are. So cut these. And then I'll bring in. So what we got to do is wire in and then a wire out as well. So it's going to be 3 together. All right. Yeah. So let me do one at a time and I'll show you guys what I mean. First, we're going to feed these through the holes in the frame. Just like so. And on the other side, just like that. Make sure those are tight. Now with this all folded up, that means that I already have the excess that I need for when this is folded up. So I can pull these kind of tighter. No, I just got to see if I got some wire strippers. All right, let me bring you in closer. All right, so I'm going to strip the wire here. And the brown is going to get connected back to the wiring harness. The side marker, or it's going to get connected to, I believe, this one here. Hold on, let me check the wiring diagram. Oh, so that makes it easy. So actually, you can see here in the wiring diagram, the side markers connect to the brown on both sides. As you can see coming off here. So it means the yellow wire remains intact. So we're just going to strip a little bit off here. Should be good. And then we're going to do the same thing as before. Twist this together. Twist this together. Now, the thing is we have to connect 3 wires because we have to have the side marker connecting to the brown coming from the tail lights, but we also have to have the brown from the actual plug-in. So let me get that straightened out. Well, how did this happen? It's fine. So in this circumstance, using a wing nut would be great, but I don't want to do that because I want a waterproof connection. So I'm going to try to find one of those splits that's big enough to accommodate 3 wires. All right, so this should work. So I'm gonna twist these up here. Let me get my torch really quick. I'll show you. So again, we're gonna have the brown from here. Maybe just twist these together, just like so. Have this sit in the middle, and then am I totally in your guys' way? Yep, sure am. Get you guys up here. And then we're gonna feed this in to the middle here. And make sure they're all in the middle. Yep, just like that. And then there we go. Make sure we melt this solder. Melt this end. Turn it a little bit. Make sure you get the solder on the underside. Make sure that's melted. All right, and that should be good. Now I'm gonna do something with this ground here. You're probably not supposed to do, but I'm gonna do it anyways. All right, so let's get this one out of the way. I'm gonna strip back this ground a little bit more. So we have, what I'm basically gonna do is just run a self-tapper into here and wrap this wire around. So we have our ground. There we go. Because I don't want to run it through the side here. I could run it through the bottom, but no. This would be the best spot, I suppose, for it. Yeah, there we go. Let me get the washer on. Perfect. All right, and then should do just fine for me. All right, so now that you've seen that side, we got to reconnect this one here. Yep. I'm definitely going to have some extra wire. We're going to have to coil that up and store it. So you can really see that solder melt in there to get that good connection. Hi, Boone. Yeah, this one looks good. We're just going to give a little heat on the other side. There we go. Looks good. All right, the only last thing that I have to connect. Let me look down here. Here's the wiring harness. This is a ground to the trailer. It's going to go to the truck. So this actually has to be grounded to the frame to give ground to everything else. All right, so I got all the wiring buttoned up. Let me just wrap this in here. As good as I can get it, I suppose. Now let's scooch this outside. It's always fun. So. We just have to lift this. Put the pins in. So. Oh, well, where are you? There we go. And then let me see where you guys are at. Let me back you up a little bit. I'm going to drop this down and turn it. Now, this isn't the lightest, but maybe just walk her down. Give her a little bit of a turn. I'll pull my truck up right here. Oh, snip this. Boop. Straighten this out. Let me see if I got something to prop this up on. Yeah, sure, that could work. Over here. All right, look at that. Side marker. Got this one with, well, you can't see the underneath, but the license plate light is on. This one's working, and that side marker is working. And this is, of course, with the brakes on. I'll take the brake off here in just a moment. All right, so this is with the brakes off. As you can see, not as bright. Thank you everyone for watching another episode of Engine Craft Garage. I really appreciate the support and the subscribers that have been coming in. Like I said, we're gonna have a video coming out every week, so stay tuned. And again, thank you for watching.